This is Drop Tent Media Network.
It's a spectrum, hon.
That's very true. And it's one of those things where I feel like I even know I live on the spectrum, but like I'm still too scared to approach it, you know?
Yeah, not too scared to approach it though. I mean, you certainly approached it, so to speak. I mean, like an approach happened, an encounter maybe even.
Not to my vagina. Just my mouth.
We're dating. What's up?
Let's go on this date.
We're going on a date. Yeah. How's it going? Hey, we're dating. I'm Rachel Peters.
I'm Alejandro Morales.
And today we have Jet. I don't even know if you have a last name.
I do have a last name, but we can go just go by Jet.
Jet. Okay, yeah. Cool. Nice. Well, Jet is a wrestler with me in Awful Wrestling and a queer icon.
All right.
I'm putting that out there. We're starting it. Yeah, it's happening now. And happy Pride.
Happy Pride, y'all.
Yeah. Woo. This is the beginning of Pride. I'm really excited. And I guess in the spirit of Pride, we do a game at the beginning, and we're just gonna do for you guys, I guess it's not so much different crushes, but all of our gay crushes, gay awakening crushes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Do you have a gay awakening crush?
I guess it would be Eric Nies of the first season of MTV's The Real World, who went on to host the MTV dance program MTV's The Grind with Eric Nies. Yes.
I have this. Wow.
That's really taking it back. Really,
I have to look at. Oh, is that him?
Yes, that is him.
Okay, he's pretty cute.
Current day Eric
Nies.
So he was like a male model. And,
I see it now. He's a fantastic figure.
Yeah, good. Yeah, he had a workout videotape. I didn't do that. I just recorded The Grind off the VCR.
And how old were you when this started?
I was like 14, 13. I was really just coming into myself. Sorry. All right. What about you, Jet? What was your
my queer crushes were like villains.
Like
Jafar or Ursula or Alan Rickman. So yeah, Snape. Like
That's a very queer. Snape is pretty queer coded, I feel like.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The long hair, the brooding look.
Yeah. The robes, the flowing robes.
My first foray into porn was just like reading fan fiction that was so smutty about like Snape and like Lupin.
There was a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of like Harry Potter gay fan fiction.
There is.
I think J.K. Rowling had no idea what she was doing, and it's like, girl, you started this. No, fuck off or modernize.
Have you read any fan fiction? Any erotic fan fiction?
I've never read fan fiction, but there's a category on Pornhub called funny. And
just funny
chuckle fucker.
Yeah. Well, no, this is the thing. It was called funny, and I was like looking through it, and it was a Rick and Morty parody porn.
Stop.
Where Rick was fucking, who is that one? She's voiced by Christina Hendricks. She's like an alien, like another.
Okay.
And I think it's like all or one or something. I don't know. But anyway, and she was like covered in blue paint and like, cause it was real people being Rick and Morty. And it was called Funny. And I watched the entire thing. And that was one that I was like, am I getting into this? I'm a little into this. But my first queer crush was Heather Graham from Austin Powers.
Okay.
Why shagged me. Cause who it was one of those, it was the first person that I was like, do I want to be her or do I want to be with her?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that first person was like, if they made a move on me, would I go for it? And they're just like, probably, yeah. And specifically Heather Graham when, cause she just had that like confident, super American sex appeal thing. Yeah. Started with Heather Graham and then went from there.
Yeah. You really did go from there, didn't you?
I went right back to dudes. All right, cool. I got the one in. And then slowly every like 5 or 6 years, I'll develop this intense crush on somebody. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. All right, back to the drawing board. Where am I? Where am I on the spectrum?
So I did want to say that I remember now that I did read some erotic fan fiction in my day that was from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I used to read. I looked up. No, it was Xander and Riley.
Oh,
yeah,
the boyfriend.
Yeah,
her,
the boyfriend.
the boring boyfriend.
The boring, military style boyfriend and the goofy sidekick. Yeah.
What would happen in that fan fiction?
Oh, they fuck.
That's basically all fan fiction. Okay, yeah. So
and like Buffy watches it all through a keyhole.
Oh,
yeah, it's very high. I
That's
can't find
really
it
hot.
anymore. I can't find the archive. I lost it.
And then
forever.
another obvious one, I feel like for everyone, Jessica Rabbit.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, because Impossible Woman.
My given name is Jessica, so I felt like a big affinity to her. I was like, oh, that is the male or the female,
The
ideal.
nth degree of who. For me, it was her voice.
Yeah.
I never in terms of voices and people, I've never really gone for the high pitched squeaky. Don't give me I don't need somebody who especially in porn sometimes in straight gearing porn when you hear that girl that's just yeah. I'm just no, stop it. But I love a deep voice. I like that Jessica Rabbit was a woman and those deep voice.
Yeah, wasn't it Kathleen
Turner?
Yeah.
And it was just a thing. And even for me, I had a crush on my babysitter growing up. Her name was Magic.
Wow.
Yeah, her name was fucking Magic Madonna Payne.
Payne?
Yeah, her last name was Payne.
Ooh.
Magic Madonna Payne. Her sister, Ebony Ivory Payne.
Ooh.
It was an interracial parent from the 70s, super hippie. And so they're just we're going in on the names. And Magic had another just deep voice and just sounded like honey, just dripping honey. Yeah, ooh.
ASMR.
Yeah. She could have made a lot of money, I think. She owns a dog business now.
Okay.
And no. So okay, do you have another early queer crush?
Ooh. Not off the top of my head.
No, it's okay.
I was going to say, if we're talking about cartoons, Aladdin definitely did. Something was going on there with Aladdin. So tan and, such a bad boy.
Yeah.
Genie or Robin Williams for me.
That's
okay.
You're kind of giving Genie today. You're kind of giving a little bit of Genie. So that's the one of the early Bart Simpson. Okay, now we're going to cartoons because now I'm gonna I think most of my early crushes were cartoons, but they all started. Yeah, it was weird. I just liked the idea of a person. I liked a personality, and then it would start there. And it would go from there. But yeah. Yeah, no. So Jet, thank you for being on the episode. And you are okay, so break it down for people. What are your pronouns? What's your
Great.
Good question. Very thoughtful question. What's your
what do you
I don't fucking know. I'm well, the first time we had a conversation was when we were going to wrestle each other, and I am clumsy, and I was not necessarily in the know of how to talk about gender identity and things like that. And I was so grateful to you because I literally came in and I was listen, I might fuck some of this language up, but I'm very curious. And you're just fuck yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Whatever, I'll let you know.
We're all beginners at some point. And I am a late bloomer myself. I use they, them pronouns right now. But I feel I'm constantly evolving. You've seen the pictures of me throughout the years. I'm a theater kid.
Yeah.
I grew up in theater because that's where all the queer people were in retrospect.
Yeah. That's where we all started.
And then I just kept putting on personas, I was somebody that just wanted to make sure everyone else was happy. Didn't really know who I was. So I would just put on a different persona, business office person or this other thing. And it's only in the last few years that I really feel grounded in who I am. And part of that is through putting on the personas in wrestling and having a really good set of friends and going to therapy. All these things are bringing me here.
So it was closer to your own identity and self and everything.
Yep.
Yeah. I theater, you were a theater kid too.
Oh yeah.
And that was just 8 years of inundated. Yeah. And how did you enjoy your theater kid days?
I mean, the dick, I love the secret dick. That was a fun
Did
part
you
of
have
it.
a lot of secret dick hookups?
Yeah, well, I mean, starting with theater camp, which I attended theater camp directly after my senior year in high school. We were already above the age of consent, and pretty theatery, pretty hornery. Yeah, I mean, it's like, not to pun on it, but it is a dramatic place to find yourself amongst theater kids.
Oh yeah, and there's like a level of like for me with theater, there's a level of competition that I always felt like a little uncomfortable with.
Ooh,
because I played so like. I think, okay, if anything, one of my journeys started of like self-discovery was through, not comedy, soccer.
I thought you said coming.
Was through coming. I mean, in a lot of ways, it is through coming. That's the journey of self-discovery.
You find out what you like.
Yeah. Dude, my earliest memory of actually having an orgasm was just looking at a penis. It was just like, it was like clearly medical. I was just like, something's stirring. But no, I was through soccer. There's
okay.
Yeah, because like it was like me and a bunch of other chicks, and like we're all just like roughing each other up and playing and like having a really good time, and like that felt so much more organic to me than like theater. And but I loved acting and I loved doing all of that stuff. But like, yeah, like some of my first memories of like really feeling like myself was through soccer, and then like being able to lean into this like masculine part of my personality and like the tomboyishness and like, yeah, I might punch you, like, and like, yeah, I might flip you or whatever. And oh yeah, one of my favorite stories about soccer was there was this girl who was charging me. I was a goalie and I slide tackled her. And it was a rough one. Like we both ate it hard. And we both ate it hard.
I'm writing a fan fiction right now.
and so like I slide tackle her and she goes down and like I get the ball and I throw it up and I help her up and I go, hey man, I'm so sorry about that. And she goes, oh, don't worry, man. It's all part of the game. And she runs off. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Cause so many, like in so many environments, especially growing up, like as a woman, like we're put in competition with each other, and like young, especially young, they start you young and they're just like, you guys, like, if a girl does this to you, then that means she hates you. Or like if something happens, all of a sudden, like creating unnecessary drama and tension in places where it doesn't need to be. And so like on the soccer field, I just always felt that it could be there. And it was natural for, you know, like a young girl when we're taught like, oh, you don't want things. Competition is an ugly thing. And it's like, no, it's fucking not. It's allowed. And I can guarantee you on that team, none of us ever hated each other for any injury that happened. None of us ever got mad at each other for like playing the sport. And then like theater was super fun because like when you would find somebody and you'd make that connection, you'd be assigned to people, you would just join. And then also my first girl that I ever really had a thing for was through theater. So that helped.
Okay.
Yeah. I went on a tangent about soccer and we're talking about theater. And I was like, yeah, you know. But yeah, it's theater was an early start to my queer education. All the girls I kissed were through theater.
That's so funny. Yes, but speaking of competition, like I feel like having been socialized as a gay man has meant a lot of reckoning with competition because you want to be with the men, but you're competing with the men for the other men.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then everybody's got themselves sorted into these categories, and it's all just so like annoying. You know, we got all the top bottom stuff.
You feel like do you think there's more like competition like among like other gay men that when you hang out with them than like in comedy?
Oh wow, that's a really interesting question. I think I would say they're about equal. I mean, they're both very cutthroat worlds, you know, and the social worlds of gay men and the social worlds of comedians, are subject to the same male temper tantrums and you know, flights of ego, right? But I'm sorry, you were gonna say.
No, continue. I am
I'm sorry, I just think it's so important to listen to women. Anytime you
No, that's not a joke, it's right. Okay, all right. So yeah. Very important. Okay.
I'm sitting here between you and I'm loving it because I also feel like as far as my identity goes, I like lie somewhere between these two spectrums.
Yeah.
Like for me, it took so long to develop into my queerness because I didn't have representation for what I felt.
Yeah.
So the way I described this to my mom was, I feel like I'm a gay man that's very glad that he was born like as a woman, AFAB person, and socialized as a woman. But I grew up, not thinking I'm a lesbian, but I'm definitely not you can't be a gay man like this.
Right. Because,
but like
what else?
Such affinity to that, especially like the masculine queen, like somebody that can harness like the divine power of femininity, but still like maintain some like masculine elements,
was
like a beard or something else.
I was gonna say, was drag like a huge like beacon for you? Like you would see it and you would be
I
like,
would see drag and be like, yes, please.
yes, this, absolutely this.
But it was so confusing because I'm like, how can I be a gay man? And then like I just like eventually figured out that like my transness doesn't need to look like anybody else's transness. It just has to be me, and like me taking testosterone is what brings me closer to, I don't know, that middle ground.
Well, I will say like you have always seemed to me to be very like confident in your presentation and who you are, but that's not the case at all.
No, I am a highly anxious person that over the last year has like really cleared up thanks to really good friendships and therapy.
Yeah.
And really just like having that alignment between like what's on the inside and what I'm portraying on the outside.
Yeah.
I dress like this. Like I dress in like crazy costumes and like flamboyance so people will talk to me so that I don't have to approach them.
I mean, like, well, okay. So do you feel like much more like this is who I am? Or is it just sort of like part of this ever evolving thing? And you're like, I am evolving.
I hope that I am always evolving.
Right. I
feel like finally at home and where I'm at right now, but like I hope that it's going to be different next year and the year after that. And I'm just excited.
Like very at home in your like body. And that's like it's a nice thing. I get that sometimes when I go like, I'll like wear something that's like a little more like I have two dreams. One, I want a good suit. I want a suit because I really, really want like just to sort of hone that that I don't know, that like weird like kind of alpha masculine feminine hybrid. And I want that. And then I also I think this is like a sillier thing, but like I want it to become socially acceptable for women to draw mustaches on themselves.
I cannot wait until my mustache grows in. Like I have some chin hair and I have sideburns, but like I want a bushy like 70s mustache.
Like a Tom Selleck level.
I think we're there now. I think we've arrived. I think you can put on a mustache. I put on a mustache and I can't grow one. I mean,
you can what? You can?
No, I can't. I can't grow any kind of real facial hair. It comes in all patchy.
Oh, okay, yeah. I feel like, well, it's like, what was it? Like one year for Halloween, I was just like, oh, I don't have a costume. I'm just gonna put on a mustache. I'm walking around. I feel like hot and like cool. Yeah,
that was one of my first clues about my transness. Is like in high school, I would dream about how I would shave my facial hair if I had it. Like looking back, I'm like,
That's it. That's a telltale sign.
So tell me more about your mustache fantasy.
I think there's something about like, I want a French mustache. I love French things. I want a French mustache. And I just like, but I want like, I love how pretty and feminine my face is and my hair is. I like how feminine I present in every place except I want like to be able to pick the day that I'm just like, all right, today I'm walking around with a mustache. Because like, I don't know. It's I don't know. It's like one of those things too with like part of identity is like not feeling the need to explain why you want something. And like, why? I don't know, because it feels good. It's like, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like Susan. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll walk down to Pride one day, one of these weekends, and with my mustache and just like walk around.
Do it. Put on that persona. Like putting on the personas is a way for us to experiment with something that's not ourselves.
Yeah.
And in doing that, like we find the things that actually are us.
Yeah. Oh my God, for sure. I mean, like with comedy, like every time I would go on stage and talk about something insanely raunchy, I was like, ooh, that feels good. That feels free. What was like one of the first like things that you, when you started talking about it, you're like, this feels like me. I like this.
Oh, cum. I think once I started just making jokes about cum on stage, it's really brought me to a new level of understanding.
Did you not start with cum?
It's been there the whole time. It's a building block.
It's a very, very wobbly block.
The thing is, like, there's always this idea of the opportunities that are available to you as a comedian if you stay clean and if you work clean. And I try, I have some clean material, but like really in my heart of hearts, like I am disgusting. Like I am absolutely disgusting. And I want to be that. And it's like, but it's not easy to do that in a world that says, that says you can only be a certain kind of of this person.
Right.
They don't want the disgusting from a guy like me. They want it from a straight man who with an unwashed ass for some reason.
Right.
I've been talking, this is way off topic, but I've been talking about how like queer people could create like a dirty show, the likes of which would make your average dirty show completely pale in comparison.
Oh my God.
I don't think straight people know how to do a dirty show because they just go, oh, I'm going to say some slurs. No, you idiot. That's not a dirty show. You're
just a fucking racist.
You're just a racist. That's not, I'm being so dirty. No, stupid. So I think queer people have really, I mean, you're talking your John Waters, thread of queerness. We could really, really, really disgust the masses, And
I want to know because as somebody who so I think I'm dirty and then I'll do a set and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I had to get raunchy because I was in X room and somebody will be like, oh, I don't think you're that dirty of a comic. And I'm just like, you take that back. How dare you? I'm fucking filthy.
Say that to my pussy. Sorry, oh my gosh. I couldn't. My gayness really helped me.
Held you back. I
Can't even say the word.
Self-sabotage there. Look at that. That was Freudian.
Yeah.
Say it to my pussy. Ha ha ha.
Just imagine my pussy himself just be like, hey, you stop. My pussy is she's got extra layers. She's lippy. And I'm proud. Mm-hmm. My favorite thing, okay, this is also really wrong. This is a little dirty. My favorite thing is it's so weird. Sometimes after I masturbate, because of all the blood flow to my vagina, I actually like looking at it because it just looks happier.
Right.
Looks like it's in a better mood. It's like, what's up? I'm full.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. That's something I've never said out loud.
I love it. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of identity, so one thing I had to say on this podcast, or I was like, as we're having this conversation, or I was like, I'm an idiot, is I did come out as non-binary like many years ago. Yeah.
What?
Yes. Sort of a secret non-binary all this time because I don't really talk about it too much because I haven't really found my footing with gender.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's one of those, it's like a Pandora's box. You open it up and you're like, okay, woo. Look at all these options, And the thing is, for me, and I don't go to therapy, so there's just a lot to unpack, and I just continue to find things to unpack. So I've got a room full of things that I'm ready to unpack.
You just got that closet. You're like, don't open that door.
But it's all labeled. It's all labeled. I know all the things that I have to unpack. So the thing is, I never know, or I'm always thinking about, do I want to embody being a man and just change what it means to be a man and to be my own version of what a man is and find my freedom within that? Or do I just want to acknowledge my place on a spectrum where it's like, okay, you've got your ultra femme on this side and your ultra masc, and I'm somewhere in between, and I can embrace that and just be whatever.
Right.
But then I just can never decide, because there's something very worthy about being like, I am going to change what it means to be a man with me being a man differently than other men.
Yeah, right.
I explode the binary and by embracing the binary, it's like you can do either way. Anytime I see an extremely effeminate gay man who still identifies as a gay man, I think, what business do I have saying I'm non-binary if I'm not that far along on the femme spectrum? You know what I mean? And that messes with my head. I'm like, how can I? I'm obviously a dude. Everybody's always going to think I'm a dude. Why am I doing this song and dance in my brain about? But at the end of the day, I don't feel like full dude. I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't. I feel like a tomboy. That's where I've always felt very comfortable feeling like a tough chick. If I lift something heavy, I feel like an empowered chick. I don't know how else to describe it.
I think we're opposites on that spectrum right there. It is such a spectrum, and it changes day to day too, depending on what we're wearing and who we're around. But yeah, very similar, on the, this side of the spectrum. That resonates with me. Yeah. One of the hottest things, I think, is getting so far away from gender stuff that you are able to circle back around and come to your gender again in a new and silly way. One of my besties is a trans masc non-binary person with a beard, and they had a drag character called Swan Flambe. And just the fact that you could go that full circle and come back around and do drag again. I'm just yes. For me, that is chef's kiss gender.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, I feel right. You're saying it changes on a day to day. And there are for me, it's, it's for me, it's not so much like a day-to-day thing, but like how I want to feel internally, depending on what I'm doing. Like, like there's something about like being like a drag king. A drag king, everybody knows, right? Do I have to explain to the people that would watch this crowd? Yeah, I'm like, because I've seen there's people that like they really like define their jaw, and like there's something that I think is so hot about like what's typically seen as like masculine aggressiveness, and I'm like, yeah, that's like a thing that I would want to do. And then there are some days where I'm just like, I just want to put on like a pretty flowy dress and like make my hair all curly, but like it is truly like something that I think as a society we either shy away from so much that it becomes this painful like ulcer of like our existence, or we like actually indulge in like, we live happily, but also it's a dangerous thing sometimes. And it's fucked up that it's dangerous to try to like live in your own happiness and your own identity. Cause like I have a cousin who lives in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and he has been gay his entire life, but because of the religious aspect of his upbringing and like where he lived, like he had to start being like, I'm bi. And he was like, and it was like this thing where he's had sex with a woman because he felt like he had to. And it took until he was about 30. He changed churches because he loves God. I'm like, whatever, your belief is your belief. And you know what? Against my better judgment, I believe in God too sometimes. But like, and he found a place that accepted him, and he found a way to be like, Mom, Dad, this ain't changing. And he found a husband who he loved truly. And like, but only now for the last like probably like 10 years of his life has he been able to live in his own truth. And like, and it's because of like being scared and ashamed, and like how much shame plays into dampening our own identity. It sucks so hard. Did you ever feel shame about it?
No, I'm Catholic. What have I not felt shame about? Everything is
it's full of
gauntlets of emotions.
Yeah, okay. I guess that's fair. Well, when you feel shame about everything, I guess it's not so bad.
But I do, my internal experience of myself has improved, and my mental health has improved since I embraced, at least internally, a non-binary identity. Just in my own head, freeing myself of any convention, any expectation has made me just happier experiencing myself and experiencing my own life. That I can articulate it well to other people is less important.
Right.
To
Would
me
you be like they, him? Like if people, when people refer to you as
because like
they?
I do feel like, I feel on the masculine end of things, so he, him pronouns, feel appropriate for me. It's just like, she, her pronoun, like, I don't know. And also like in a gay context, her pronouns are so casually tossed around anyway.
Yeah.
So like, I'm always like, yeah, all right, yeah, like, get her. You know what I mean? Like that's fine. And you've known me Rachel has known me for like 10 11 years. Yeah. So when I was, doing comedy in my 30s and things were a little more alternative, and there was a lot more, wiggery going on and costuming. And, at that point I was playing around a lot more with my gender presentation and doing a lot more, dragish kind of things. And, and like, I'm not in that phase now, but it could come back anytime. Like, I like what you said earlier about like coming back all the way around. I would love to get like myself, like all like big and jacked and then start wearing makeup again and do that, because I love when people do that. There's that guy, that person online, Matt XIX, do you know the account? Posts a lot about like queer liberation, but is like this worked out, super, just Jimmy person with
it assumed it was all.
I'm so bad at like remembering people's like handles online anyway, but super jacked but and tanned and very like sort of like cis gay presenting, but then nails and eyelashes and makeup, and I'm like, I love where those things like come together,
the intersection of it.
Yeah, I'm 2 years on T now, and like as like I like my voice drops and my muscles develop and just like these transitions are happening, like I find myself like loving the femininity more. Like I want nails now.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about like in terms of like, dropping into like the duality of like your gender, finding arm wrestling.
Yes.
As like, one of my favorite stories in comedy is about this one comedian who is like, she's a cisgendered woman beating this cisgendered man, and how butthurt he was about it for the longest time. And and also just arm wrestling is hot. It's very cool.
Wrestling in general is really hot.
Also, we should destigmatize losing to women if you're a guy. I think that needs to be destigmatized. Anyway, continue.
I think we should destigmatize losing in general. Like that is a part of life. That's part of the duality. Like we win, we lose. And that's part of like my wrestling character participation trophy. Oh God.
No genius.
The patron saint of millennials, the golden child who always has to win because they feel like they have to prove themselves.
It's such a good character, because it really does embody everything that like people say they hate about our generation. But also on the other side, it's like we should all be winners, because sometimes we all lose some. And if we feel good about the losses, are they losses? Right? We learn. Okay. All right. So back to arm wrestling.
Back to arm wrestling. This actually goes back to a year ago from today, Pride last year. Okay. I was hanging out with like a group of like acquaintances and like newer friends, people I didn't know as well. And we all ended up going back to their house, and the vibes were getting kind of sexy. Ooh. And I was riding this like almost panic wave, right? Like the anxiety was up there, the kind of feeling of like everybody else knows each other. I'm the outsider.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
And I was just like, like calming myself down, just trying to like ride through it and like stay cool. And then we started arm wrestling. And like that just changed everything. Like all of a sudden we were connected. Like it's also so hot, like as like a trans mass person, like being able to wrestle like another trans person and just like the duality there. And like that for me, like broke the tension. And also
just, like, eye contact.
Oh my God, eye contact, the excuse to touch each other. It got me thinking, Guns of Steel Baltimore is like a women and non-binary arm wrestling competition that I'm a big fan of, was just there last night. Yeah. And I was like, man, Philly needs this too. Like after that queer orgy. Yep. So starting June 15th is our first show for queer arm wrestling. Okay. Follow us on Instagram.
Now, are you running it? I'm sorry, this episode will not be out in time.
That's fine. There will be
still running when it's.
There will be many queer arm wrestling events.
Brilliant, amazing. Wait, is there an Instagram to follow?
Yes, queer arm wrestling on Instagram.
Okay, cool. We'll have that in the.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about arm wrestling?
Oh. Losing.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so hot to lose, right?
You're submitting.
Well,
sorry, that's
no, I don't submit. It's just like, oh, like you got me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So wait, if we're let's get a little sexy as well as the vibes of the arm wrestling. Do you speaking of spectrum, dom sub, do you spectrum on that?
Oh, I'm a hard switch,
Hard switch.
I play the roles. If they need to be there, I love role playing. We're everywhere.
That's so fun. I've always wanted to role play, but I feel as if like I'm just figuring out even what I like in bed, because like it's a long story, but like when you like will see like a therapist on Instagram and all of a sudden they say something and you're like, oh my God, that's who I am, that was me, that was all my trauma. There's a lot of people pleasing, and so like when people would focus on me in bed, I would be like weirded out and I'd be like, this is too much, and then like eventually I found somebody who was almost scientific about it in a way that I felt almost not focused on. But because of that, I was able to come. And then I figured out, oh, that's what works for me. Like not even that because of the not focus, that because of like the strategy, the like fast or slow or whatever. And then so now I figured that out and I was like, oh, coming during sex is actually awesome. Which is ridiculous that it took until 28 to figure that out. But then like now I'm like, okay, now I know how to come during sex. Now I don't feel so much the pressure of somebody focusing on me. What else is there? And there is somebody in Washington, D.C. that I will hook up with from time to time when I'm in town. Not anymore because I'm seeing somebody, but when I was in town, we were making out in bed. My hands are already starting to go up. So some people know
all right, so you're demonstrating a pose for the listeners on Spotify.
For those people who are listening, arms above my head, and he just straps one arm. Oh. And I was like, oh, and then he straps the other, and then he kind of like slightly plays with me, and then he goes, all right, do me now. Oh. And then he goes, there's also legs, do my ankles. And I was like, interesting. So I like full bed, like boom, 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 boom. And then he was like, go behind the door. And I was like, what's behind the door? And he was just like, there's something behind the door. And I was like, okay.
It's your mom.
I would not put it past her. I would be a prank, but it would be such a fucked up prank. I'd be like, Celia, no, you've lost mom privileges for a whole month. No, you're Celia this month.
What's behind the door?
What's behind? You're a true mom. No, it was a cat of nine tails.
Oh, okay.
And I had never done that before, and I found myself really enjoying it. So I'm getting into my dom phase, into my like more aggressive phase.
Wow.
My favorite part about queer sex is how inventive it can be because we don't have the scripts, right? Like we are just making it up as we go, which like really just leads to full spectrum of role play. Like I just had like a really hot scene where we did like Orc Back Mountain.
Nice.
Like Rhaegor, I can't quit you. It was so hot.
Did you, okay, and forgive me if this question is like immature, but did you guys paint your faces green and really go for it? Okay.
No,
see?
but we did the voices and like,
yeah.
It was great.
Oh, that sounds so fun. Yeah. Have you ever done a role play?
Yeah, I used to date this cop when I was 18 years old in New York City in 1999 because he had taken in a friend of mine for solicitation on the piers. And they had that unique friendship that sex workers and police officers sometimes have where anyway, so I ended up,
that's
hooking up with this police officer through my friend who was a sex worker and an ecstasy dealer at the time. And so we used to do this role play, me and the cop, where I pretended like his dick was too much for me to handle. And he was just, oh my goodness, just overwhelming. And it was not too much, but he couldn't get off if we didn't do that.
You have to say, that's such ego.
Yeah.
You were so kind.
I know. I'll never again.
Is that role play or bluffing? Are you a cum bluffer too?
The cum bluffer strikes again.
That's going to be my next wrestling character. The cum bluffer. Oh, that actually might be great because then I could finally wrestle Pegula.
Oh, yeah.
I think that'd be a good character. That's the one thing. My one awful wrestling like bucket list is that I feel like I want to wrestle Pegula. But like she's so much more theatrical than most of my wrestling is. Like I'm just like this dumb plot line about, oh, dang it, you done did that thing. And then I just go into it.
No, you bring it. You have like the most amazing improv, just like character work.
Oh my, thank you so much. I like, it's one of those, I feel always very confident in that part of it. But like, then I'll see like the props, like the dismembered penis head that always comes in. So good. And I'm like, oh my God.
Props. You just gave live birth on stage last time.
That was Ryan Shaner, the demented genius that man is. He's literally just like, all right, so I have this pocket pussy. Okay. Like, honestly, talk about a mustache. That man has a sick mustache. But yeah, it was a very fun show. I really also like the show I did with Jerry a while ago with the two magnetic babies attached to my nipples. That was very fun. I also liked wrestling you a lot because I felt very much the pressure to bring it. And so I was just like, let's do this.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's the thing. When I start to work with people, I'm just like, let's create a relationship where we trust each other.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, I think across the board, performance, sexuality, friendship, like trust is like the way you get the best out of it. And like, when it comes to like us, we've been naturally thrown together for years.
Sure.
Like without even us seeking
without
it
even
out.
wanting to.
Without I don't even want to do this. No, but like, the first time I ever worked with Alejandro was on this web series called Canvas.
Oh yeah. It was a really doomed web series because it was about two Hillary Clinton campaigners. Yeah. And so, of course, everybody went into it so smug, thinking, of course, Hillary's going to win the election. Nobody wanted to talk about that fucking web series after the election.
We did 3 episodes, I think. And then
but proud of the episodes. The episode's very funny, very funny.
Very good.
Because very unrelated to politics. It's really just the premise.
Yeah, right. It's kind of like The Office, except, for campaigning, like it was very, but But then from there, we like went on and like, you know, I did your show. I did Eat Your Beats forever.
Oh yeah, she did my food themed freestyle rap battle show. Which if you can freestyle,
I cannot.
You'd be honestly, it doesn't even matter if you're good at it. I still think it'd
be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, okay.
I'm always a good time.
You're a great performer. It's one of those. Do you feel like performing helps you more like connect to your identity, or do you feel like?
Oh, definitely. Like that has been my journey, is like putting on personas to find who I am.
What was the one that you were just like, oh, this is very close to home?
The gay agenda.
That's
what I'm bringing right now to Pride. But like that was the last wrestling thing that we did. I was the gay agenda, and I had my they frog, my greatest creation. We were they them, the gay agenda, and we had poisoned Philadelphia's water supply to make everyone gay.
Yes.
And for me, what being gay means is just like the affection and like the love and like just like the accepting people as they are. I was a heel, I was a villain, but like, is that really a villain?
No, not really at all. And also, I think you do a very good job at making it so silly and so approachable for people of all ages.
Oh.
Because I try to sneak in as much like queer acceptance and like just liberal lessons to like all my cousins, because like they're in Delaware. But anyway, I know it's a unfortunately conservative state, but I'm just like, come to Philadelphia, be with me for a week. When should we send up? You guys should send up in June. Why? No reason. It's June. Because
there's an agenda right there.
Yeah, there you go. That's my gay agenda.
Wait, can I bring up something?
Yes.
Yeah. So there was a dinner party a while back with all the awful wrestlers, and you pulled me in the back and said I was really hot, and then made out with me and then disappeared. And we've never talked about it since. And I was like, you asked me to be on a podcast. I'm going to bring this up.
Oh, shit.
So
oh my God.
Tell me what that was about.
Okay, well, I mean, this is very gay. Okay, one, you are, okay, so everybody that has ever, I've said this to you, everybody who I have ever known that has met you has been like Jet's insanely hot. They're very, very hot, very attractive. And to be fair, I also thought that about our first meeting. And this is what I mean. Like every 4 or 5 years, somebody comes along and fucks up my entire idea of what I'm attracted to or who I'm attracted to.
Did I fuck you up?
Yeah. God damn you. Yes. So I feel like I'm topping out right now. The levels are insane on this.
Well, maybe you're bottoming out.
I go both ways, baby.
Hard switch.
Yes. Am I like red? I am sweating. Oh my God. Yes. And I think I find you very attractive. But I will say, okay, here's vulnerability. I'm sexually terrified of what would happen if I actually went for it with people sometimes. Like, especially like you're a trans mask, right? Whatever. You're a non-binary trans person. And I'm also terrified that I'm not going to be able to sexually perform in the way that you would be accustomed to or deserve. Because like, okay, so the very first I've had sex with a woman. I have had sex with a woman. And the entire time I was just like, I'm not like, my jaw was tired. I was just like, damn. And then like having sex with cis straight men is so easy. At any time I think I've ever developed a crush on somebody that is not a cis straight man, I just get so terrified that I'm not going to be able to live up to the expectations. And like, I cowered out.
I didn't have sex with a vagina until I was 30.
Wow.
Really?
Yes. So what? I'm a late bloomer too. Like it's a spectrum, hun.
That's very true. Yeah. And it's one of those things where I feel like I even know I live on the spectrum, but like I'm still too scared to approach it, you know?
Yeah, not too scared to approach it though. I mean, you certainly approached it, so to speak. I feel like an approach happened, an encounter maybe even.
Not to my vagina. Just my mouth.
No, but like I definitely like kissing. I will kiss everyone.
We've kissed. It was wonderful. It was lovely.
It's soft. I've heard I have very soft lips. You're a great kisser. And if anything, I think we waited to the last 5 minutes of the episode.
This is gonna be one of those that Rachel afterwards is like, "Did we get too horny? Do we do that again? We get too horny to the podcast."
I mean, there's only one episode we felt we got too horny, and it was a masturbation episode.
Ooh, yeah, that was a good
That'll
one.
get really horny.
It's all about anyway.
It's all about jerking off anyway, which is pretty hot in a room with other people. We're gonna do that.
But you know what? I can bear testament to the sexual momentary bravado of a Rachel Peters for sure. Rachel Peters
Yes.
will work up that courage to just be like, I'm gonna kiss you,
And that's what I need. Like,
Wait, hold on. And then I have a follow-up question.
Oh.
So when we were on the cruise on your birthday, that night that we went down for martinis, it seemed like it was almost a little cute date moment. And then we had another wrestler come to join us, and it was slightly apropos of nothing. And they were lovely and they're fantastic. And it was not I'm not going to call it a bummer, but it wasn't unwelcome, but it was slightly a bummer. Because I remember being like, oh, okay. All right. Yeah, now we're all just hanging. And then,
Yep. I went down there to put the flirt on.
and I felt it. I even told Anthony, who is the guy that I'm kind of saying, I was just like, he was like, did anything happen on the cruise? You anybody? I know we weren't really. I was like, no, nothing happened. There was a night though that something could have happened.
What could have happened?
And
Yearning. That's so gay.
Yearning.
Yearning
Yes.
is very gay. I have had multiple yearnings, and honestly, only more and more as I've gotten older. I have currently 2 yearnings, but I think now one is a very public. Is a yearning if everyone knows about it?
Public urination. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, I guess we don't have time to. Do we have? We do. What are we? Okay, I was gonna say we're gonna do a sex position, but there's no point in a sex position review when every sex is good of all of the kinds. I'm blushing, guys. This has been. Wait, is there anything you want to plug?
Just follow Queer Arm Wrestling.
Cool, yeah,
Yes,
and
on
follow
Instagram.
Awful Wrestling.
And Awful Wrestling. Couldn't have done it without Awful Wrestling.
Honestly,
Get to
yeah.
this point and meet
I love that.
all these beautiful people.
All of the yearning. Okay, yeah. So follow Jet, also handy them. And yeah, we're dating now. You're in a
We're dating.
you're in a three.
Are
Yeah.
we dating?
We're dating
I
now.
love this. I am a little poly. This works.
There's a
per-
polycule.
This is the polycule. I love it. All right, guys. Bye, guys.
You know what is an amazing idea, Rachel?
What's an amazing idea?
Liking and subscribing
Oh my God, you're very, very right.
to us.
To us at we.r.datingpod on Instagram, and you can find us under that on YouTube as well.
That's right. That's we.r.datingpod, and that's the letter R.
Yeah, that was my bad.
You'll figure it out.
Hey, how you doing? This is Neil Wood, one of the co-owners of Drop 10 Media Network and who helps run Biggest Little Comedy. You can check out all the other stuff we do at drop10.com. We've got podcasts, live comedy shows, and so much more. Go over there, support your favorite podcasts, follow them, subscribe. We appreciate it, and we're 100% DIY, just a bunch of creatives trying to make it in this, and give us some feedback. We always enjoy a little feedback. Thanks.
This has been a Drop Tent Media production.